Is this visible now, Shavanaji?
Yes, yes, please.
Yes, okay. Well, very good morning to you. I will also just start it with good morning to all you lovely people here. I mean, it's a lovely start of the week. And I'm going to talk about a subject that is something that we really encounter on a day-to-day basis. A lot of us, in terms of percentage and all, I'll come to, you know, a little ahead. And before I proceed with that, I would like to know that how many of you have been in a situation where you want to say something, but it's just scary, that, oh, there are so many learned people in the room, and how do I even share my opinion? I mean, how many of you have felt that it's little daunting to share something at times? Have any of yeah, by show of hands, or you can chat and type in the chat box.
See, I'm going to be a certified laughter yoga teacher, but sometimes I am afraid of my own family. That's why I like, you know, they would say,
True.
when you when you are when you are not wrong, they think that you are wrong, but you are a very direct person. Direct is the effect
Yes.
of hypnotherapy. That's why I went this morning, and he says that suppressing emotions is not good. And he told my father that
So,
you're
if I may, kind of come in there, you are a certified, practitioner there, and yet there are at times doubts that come in that, do I say it? And that doubts come from various spaces. At times it is doubt on self. At times you wonder, can I say it? And without any reason,
see
there are many a
actually,
times
actually pretty not myself. It's actually other people's
environment.
opinion. Yeah.
The environment. True, true. So there are various factors that come into play, and there are physical reactions at times we find, I have seen a lot of people, they speak so normally when they are talking to me, but the moment they have to speak in front of three, four people together, they would, like they would struggle with the words. At times, some of them are sweating. And the general feeling for a lot of people is that, oh God, I am being judged. Oh God, I'm being watched. And that kind of feeling is something that, is a topic that we are going to talk about, because you look around in terms of percentages, in terms of even the regular people around us, you will find them being conscious about this. And I am, a lot of you know, but just introducing myself, I'm Preeti Gandhi, a handwriting influencer, a graphoanalytical therapist, a seasoned entrepreneur since 1998 in advertising. I mean, I drive car rallies for a passion. Graphology is a passion, come my purpose of life. And this is what I am on a mission to. And even as a person who is helping people to discover themselves more, I realize that despite knowing so many things about oneself, there are times when it's like, oh my God, should I say this? There are, the crowd is there, people are there, are they going to judge me? Am I looking fine? Am I talking properly? Am I properly dressed? Am I well equipped to deal with the situation here? So that's the thing that I help people overcome from, and many other things. So that's what I do day in and day out, with through different medias, the main media being your own handwriting. And today I'm going to unravel the mystery of why do people get social anxiety. And when we talk about the word social anxiety, there are two words we are having here. One is social and other is anxiety. So anxiety comes from various aspects. Today, what we are going to talk about is anxiety that comes up in social situations. When you are in a group, yeah, when you are in a big group, or when you are even in a small group, or when you are in a new place, a strange place. So that's what we are talking about today, social anxiety. And you will find a lot of people saying, no, no, I feel anxious. Ask me any question that you want one to one, but don't ask me in front of other people. I have friends who are so smart, so learned, come to me and say this. So, what it is it just shyness, or is it just fear? Or if someone is shy, should we call it that person is socially anxious? Not really. Because shyness is that, okay, for that moment, the person is shy to speak. Is the person suffering from anxiety? Is the person feeling that body thing where person is sweating? Or, many a times you will find that when the person is sitting, the legs are constantly moving, right? Or if the fingers are on table, they are like constantly going tuck, 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 because it's like you are trying to just manage that body reaction of anxiety. So, shyness is not something we will call it social anxiety. That's something that happens naturally, and the person overcomes that quite easily. But yes, the fear of being judged, the fear of being, uh, you know, uh, taken as and right or wrong, the fear of being uh, not being able to give your opinion the way you want it, or your speech the way you want it, or going into an interview and feeling that you are just not properly equipped for it. So it could be a personal situation, it could be a professional situation, but when there is a group of people and then fear is what grips you, that's what we will term it as social anxiety, not shyness really. Yeah, because shyness is only not being able to speak or communicate, but the other factors are not there. That strong fear, intense fear of the feeling of being judged. So these are aspects that are not really there, and that is the aspect that we are talking about today as social anxiety. Now, what is social anxiety? What are the symptoms that you normally see in social anxiety? One is that people start sweating, and you will find this very often. There are many business meetings I attend, and there are times that before that person's turn comes to give their presentation, their handkerchiefs are out and they are like, just taking off the sweat. At times when the turn is there to speak, or when they want to share, there's a nausea that a person feels. That is another kind of a social anxiety thing that you can feel in your body. Other that you feel, often you will find people hands are shaking, the legs are shaking. That shaking is so intense that they will try to stop it by some or the other action. Either then they will start fidgeting. They will, just, I'm not having anything right now, maybe my mobile. So they will, they'll start just fidgeting with the mobile, or they will have a pen or something, or they'll just pick up a random object and they'll start fidgeting. There's agitation on their face. You can see that anxiousness within themselves showing up. Heartbeat that starts pumping up. And I remember my daughter one day was kind of there was some presentation that she had to do in school, and she's like, Mama, just touch my heart and see, you can feel it pounding. It can jump out any moment. So that's another kind of reaction that comes in, heart palpitations, just severe feeling uh, of that anxiety of what's going to happen, shortness of breath. So, this is how you can feel in the physical aspect of being anxious. Now, what is the relevance of this? Why are we even talking about this? We are talking about social anxiety because many a times people think, a lot of time you will find people saying that it's okay, it will come and go. Just take deep breaths and, go and do it. But 7% of the population suffers from social anxiety. 66 estimated worldwide prevalence is 60%, and it starts as early as 11 years. And when you look around, you will find even adults suffering from it. So generally, it starts in early years, because that time, as a person, you're still building up, you're still gathering the skills. And when a situation comes, the social and anxiety aspect comes in. And the comorbidity aspect of it with other mental disorders is very high. And this, the common scenarios is public speaking, meeting new people, being the center of attraction. In one of the workshops, I was talking about, self-esteem, and how people cannot take uh, positive feedback. If someone says, oh, you're looking good, all of a sudden you're becoming the center of attraction. And many people I've seen just become uncomfortable with that, and they will just dismiss the positive appreciation that they are getting. That is how it impacts, bit by bit it comes in. And and if you have experienced this, just know that you're not alone. And that's why I'm showing some statistics here. It's like, there's a secret fan club, there's a secret club that's going on, and a lot of people are members of it, knowingly or unknowingly, willingly or unwillingly. Now, in terms of the study conducted in India by Lancet in 2017, it was found that 197 million people that had that have mental health disorders in India. Out of that, 45.9 million are suffering from depression, and 44.9 million are being impacted by anxiety. And that's kind of 3.3% of our population. And at the time of COVID, we found that this really rose to a large extent, because at the time of COVID, we got so comfortable being in our own little house with that selected number of people, that going out meeting new people all of a sudden was new, and that caused anxiety. In fact, the children who were born just before COVID or during COVID, they found it very difficult to understand that why there are more than 3 or 4 people in the room. Why are these new people there? Why are they there in my house? Or why am I there in other people's house? They would hide behind their, mother or fathers. That's the kind of response that would be evoked, post COVID. That's how it slowly seeps in. And that is why that's a topic that we are talking about today. Though it does not have a direct negative impact, but it's being constantly socially anxious does have its impact, which we will talk about going forward. One very important aspect that I would like to discuss is, what are the root causes. There are biological factors, there are environmental influences, there's cognitive patterns. As Rajveen was mentioning, that it's not that she doesn't have confidence on herself. It's not the personal aspect. It's the environmental influence. So there are different root causes to this particular aspect. I would first want to talk about biological aspect. If the people, I would really like to have people's response here, that which aspect have you suffered from once I have covered all three. So keep typing in the chat box wherever you feel that, oh yeah, I have kind of, gone through this. So when it comes to the biological aspects, it's like our brain, it has unique fingerprints, and some of us have brain structure, that is more sensitive to social stress. It could be genetic, it could be probably how, it's just that the brain has a certain structure. And it's like having a car with a very sensitive alarm system. So even if you go a little close to the car, it will be like, blah, there will be an alarm sound coming in. So those are the biological causes to social anxiety. Other is environmental influences. When you have overly protective parents, so you will find that, the children will then tend to just just be always protected, not having to face the situation. And when the time comes to actually face it yourself, they are at a loss because they were always being taken care of. So while it's nice to be protective, it's also important to give them that space to
That's
be able to.
that's true.
Okay, Raji. So I would like you to share a little more about this once I have covered all this. So just remember that, Rajvi. Yeah. And also there are times that, uh, you have had a traumatic experience, uh, and that stays on. That stays on. I remember that one of my personal experiences in public speaking was in school, and I had really prepared well. But when I went on stage, I felt that every person in the auditorium could see my legs shaking. I was shaking. I mean, I was literally shaking. And the memory of that stayed with me for a very long time, till the time I was like, okay, I got to address this. But that traumatic experience, like, for a teenager, that was a traumatic experience, and that really stayed on for quite some time, till the time I decided to face it head on. So any traumatic experience may what should I say, just trigger that kind of a response. Also, as we grow up, when we talk about overprotective parents or these kind of things, you because you learn to swim over a period of time, you do learn to come out of these situations over a period of time. So the main factor here is to keep trying, to keep attempting, and slowly and steadily you will find that layers of anxiety fades off, and you feel yourself standing tall in, so that's the experience I have gone through in terms of that public speaking episode. Also, it depends on the cognitive patterns, where we say that we have to really look into what we talk to ourselves. Forget about public speaking, I mean, that's second, but what we talk to ourselves. If I'm constantly talking negatively to myself, then cognitive patterns are formed. There are brain, those pathways that are formed. And like how, if there is grassland, and you start walking in a particular direction, so the grass will be little, thoda sa wo grass hoke path banega. But when you keep walking on it, there is a small path that is created. That is how the patterns are formed in our brain. So initially it's like you just say, Preeti, you really can't do this. Where are you that good looking? Are you having a PhD? Are you having a doctorate? It starts small, and then and then you keep talking, and then there is a pathway, and there is a firm belief that, Preeti, you cannot do it. That is how the neural pathways are formed inside our brain. So, whatever you talk to yourself, remember that it is an affirmation, whether we do it knowingly or unknowingly. If I keep saying that, Preeti, you can't do it, you can't do it, you can't do it, it's an affirmation that, yes, Preeti, you can't do it. And that becomes my reality. So, or at times it's like, anticipating the worst, that, okay, if I do this, this is what is going to happen, this is what is going to happen, people are going to say this, then this is good. And we weave stories around what can happen. So that's anticipating the worst scenario. And the inner commentator that we have within, if we can have control of that inner commentator, then we can manage our cognitive patterns. Always pointing out on what can go wrong is something that does not help in our social anxiety aspect. So if you have a pessimist commentator inside, then that's the background music always going on, and that's not something that we really want. So be aware of how it shows up in your space. And some of the ways that you thought that, oh, no, no, I mean, they are just normal behaviors, but no, they are termed as anxiety. Would you like to know what are those some few things? Yeah, these
Yes.
are these are some of them. So things that we really didn't know were anxiety. Feeling unable or too afraid to speak up, just even in a group of one or two. Worried about every word choice I use while interacting with people, to the extent that it's like, okay, this is how I'm going to explain my point. And by the time you come up with the words, the conversation has gone somewhere else. Yeah. Thinking everyone could see inside my head. It's like my expression is a giveaway, and people know what I'm thinking and what I'm going to say, and it's already scary. So that kind of thing shows up on the face, and that is also anxiety. Believing everyone is silently judging me. That feeling that the entire crowd over here has only one work, and that is to judge me. That's anxiety for sure. Thinking I have to be perfect to avoid judgment. Because when you look around in the universe, nothing is perfect. And there's beauty in imperfection. And yet, as children, we from our parents, not that they want us to feel low, but that's the pattern that they have also followed over the decades. Everyone wants us to be perfect. Your presentation should be perfect, your journals should be perfect, your books should be perfect. And and if it is not, then the teacher is there to give you a remark, you know or give you a 1 star, or give you a sad face. So that overwhelming feeling to be perfect, it so that you're not judged, that is definitely a big way where anxiety shows up. Resenting yourself for not living up to everyone's standards. It's that is somewhere correlated a little to perfection, but that, yeah, there are standards that either my parents have, my teachers have, my spouse have, my colleagues have, and I think somewhere I'm not able to live up to it, and resenting yourself that, oh, I'm not able to do this. Now that also is something that drives anxiety. Don't want to come off as stupid. There are so many times that people don't ask important questions because it will be like, oh, how can I ask this? Everybody will think itna bhi nahi aata hai. And you will find intelligent questions being not raised just because that, oh, people will think I'm stupid. Yeah. Felt like I had to overachieve, be the best at everything, and know everything to be considered intelligent. You will find that there is a certain pattern in this, that how one aspect of the way you think leads to the other, and finally a person suffers from anxiety, criticized but for every movement that you make. Where there are judgmental people around you, and they keep correcting you. Sit this way, don't sit like this. You stand like this, straighten your posture, straighten your posture. So like every movement is criticized, and that really adds up to the anxiety feeling that we have. Now, what is the impact of social anxiety on our life? One is that on a personal level, it leads to isolation, it leads to missed opportunities. Now, because that anxiety is there, we really do not show up. Really do not speak up. And a lot of opportunity are taken away not by perfect people, but by people who are okay to be imperfect and speak up. So that's the, that's how it impacts on personal level. At professional level, you will obviously have career limitations, difficulty in networking. And being in a many social network, in business networking groups, there are times I've seen that people are really intelligent, but just because the job that they are doing is socially considered a little low, like, there are electrical contractors that are there, that were there in my business group. Now, electric contractors probably do not come from the best education background, but they're very skilled at their work. But because there are other people having done MBA, or somebody is a CEO or whatever, they start small. You can see it in the body language that they show up in a little, like apologetic way, that, oh, I'm here, just hear me out. So that difficulty is there in networking. And once you do not network, you find that you miss out on opportunities. You are actually depriving people of your own knowledge. And that is, I think, a disservice not only to yourself, but even to others. At emotional level, you start feeling low, you start feeling depressed. It's like, I know so much, and yet I cannot, speak about it. So, social anxiety, it becomes like an invisible barrier, keeping us from fully participating in life. So when I'm talking about business networking meets, I'm giving you an example, because you can instantly have a picture that, okay, there are different business people there to promote their business, to explain their business. They're passionate about what they do. They're there for a purpose, and yet there is hesitation in showing up. There's hesitation in speaking your mind. So it's like you are seeing a party, but through a small window, you are unable to join the party. That's how I feel, when people um, do not show up because of their internal barriers, anxiety barriers. That's how it has impact on our life. And that's the impact. And now what's happening with my mouse? Yeah. Okay. Now I'm going to connect it to something which is the hidden language of handwriting. And this is where it gets interesting, because your handwriting is like your psychological fingerprint. As no two fingerprints are same, similarly, no two people write the same. And the strokes are clues to your personality, including signs of social anxiety. Yeah. And how you are as a person, what's your introvert, extrovert are some of the terms that we use to describe people. Now, what are those elements in the handwriting? Because handwriting is a window to your subconscious mind. So that is something that is really interesting in terms of correlating your behavior with how you write. And how you write is a very subconscious act. It is a depiction of what is actually going on in your brain. We also call handwriting as brain writing. I'll give you a small story. I'll give you a small example of how handwriting and social anxiety can be correlated. Now, do you see this? Do you see this handwriting sample? You see a big handwriting. You see a handwriting which starts big, but which goes small, 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 smaller. And you see another handwriting that just is small. Now you will find that the people with small, so handwriting is a complex analysis of graphology is a complex analysis of handwriting. So just based on one element, one should not have a conclusion, but to give you a fair idea, I'm just taking one example. This is not always true, because there are other elements in handwriting that we have to correlate. But you will find, if I just look at it physically, that the small handwriting person, how much space is that person taking on the page? If you can see it, the handwriting. In the page, the person is taking lesser and lesser space to write. Now, that is how a person would behave in social environments. Now, understanding what it is the first path. Professional help is always available, and graphotherapy is a unique way. I mean, it doesn't instantly transport you to your destination, but yes, it does show you the path forward. And one of the path is graphotherapy, where you change certain strokes in your handwriting, which helps you to show up in a more positive way. It improves your self-esteem so that you are ready to bet on yourself. So that is something I would like to share, that your handwriting does hold more secrets. And there is an upcoming workshop in which we are going to talk about handwriting and social anxiety in great detail. And the details of that will be shared by Shabana ji in days to come in the group. So you can check on that. And I would like to end saying that this is just this, I've just scratched the surface for social anxiety and the intriguing connection to handwriting. uh, but yes, as I said, if you are curious to learn more, stay tuned. We will send you invitation for the workshop, and it would be interesting to see what story your handwriting says, and whether we can and how we can rewrite that story. So, and that is very deep to my heart, because I strongly, strongly believe that whatever has happened in the past is in our head, is there in our head as a small memory. But the future is certainly in our hands. And when I say in our hands, I mean literally. Yeah. So that's from my end in terms of the social anxiety aspects. I would like to have now shares from people, if while going through the presentation you found some aspects that you faced professionally, personally, uh, or anything that resonated with you. I would love to hear from you. Yes, would anybody like to share?
I just feel refreshed after your lecture, and after hypnotherapy this morning. It is very, very good to do laughter. After hypnosis, you manage to walk. Because after 2.5 weeks, I went. My body was painful and all that. So that also anxiety could cause my spasticity to go up. So yeah. So I
So,
feel
Rajvi, what is that one thing that you feel strongly when you are anxious? So, in terms
So
of
I
body.
no, so I feel like as I told my hypnotherapist this morning, I was like, why whenever I feel anxious, the person who makes me anxious, not my mother, my whether whoever it is, they should put themselves into my shoes. In my case, it was my it was a misunderstanding between my nephews and my caregiver's niece. Yesterday she would call me a boy and stuff like that. So that's also social anxiety. And when we are eating, when I'm when in my case, when I'm having a proper conversation with my family, um always been being react. So the person who is hurt, maybe they are angry at themselves, they lash out on me. So I was just telling my hypnotherapist about that. He said take a deep breath during that time, and you know ignore them, and you're such a beautiful person that you're going to be certified laughter teacher. And I'm truly, truly, he's been telling me I'm truly thankful over the smallest joy in my life. I'm truly thankful for the greatest things in my life. And
Lovely.
my two caregivers.
So, so what I can gather is that whenever there is this anxiety that you feel, so there are two, three things I understand that really helps you. One is you take deep breaths, you express gratitude, you try to see that, okay, kind of forgive the person for whatever that person is doing.
Yeah, even if the person does it repeatedly, so I try to forgive that person, because you know why? I develop love kindness. I have also developed love kindness and compassion meditation when according to my hypnotherapist and all, he has asked me to take neurobion and stuff like that for my nerves, and increase the medication to one in the morning and half at night, so that I could be I,
Okay.
I could
Thanks.
yeah.
Yeah.
So actually social anxiety is not very prominent, because I am very good speaker. I'm very good. uh the only thing is when I get angry and people get angry with me in front of people, I feel like dysphagia. Dysphagia is one kind of, and I have palpitations. So because I'm like having like, I'm saying I'm like, I'm good enough. I'm I am joyous. Why
Wow.
why do
I really appreciate your, the journey that you're going through, Rajveen. And it really takes a lot of work on self to do the things that you do.
that's why when you say soul writing, I write in my soul that every day I'm getting younger and younger, by the grace of Guru, by the grace of hypnosis, by the grace of laughter yoga.
Thank you.
And by the grace of Mavin as well. People say I laugh and laugh like crazy, but you know what? Laughter is the best medicine. Nothing can beat laughter, and hypnosis and trainings and Maven has actually developed me so much that I cannot express my gratitude to Shabana. So soul writing is a very good, gratitude is a very good way to overcome social anxiety,
So true. So true. Thanks for sharing that, Rajveen. Thanks a lot.
because
You
I don't have breathing problems anymore. But when I'm triggered, then I have to put the medicine in me. So yeah.
all the best with the journey ahead.
So when I come back, I'll share with you my story on the certified laughter yoga teacher training.
Sure, we'll do that one day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing, Rajveen. Anybody else would like to share? Okay. So we have, yeah, Shabana ji.
So given that you have shared all those symptoms, I also recall like I think it was my after MPhil presentation, like in a long time in college, university days. I remember I had to present, and I don't know what happened. Somehow I lost the voice because, and I know it may be the stress, and I was so much, because there's so much to prepare and to do. For some time, I just lost my voice, and but then of course it came back. So I presented half, and then my supervisor had to present the last finding. I was like, okay, that's fine.
Oh, wow. Wow. That reminds me of an incident just last month. And I do not really fear public speaking now, but something was going on in my mind. And at the end of my 1 minute presentation, somehow I felt my voice going. And it was that physical symptom that helped me realize that, oh, there's anxiety that's going on in my body right now. So in that fraction of a second, I did get control over my voice, but it gave me an indication that something is happening. So pay attention. So when we are attentive to our body, our body is talking to us every moment. And when we are cognizant of that, we can deal with it, because if we know it's there, we can deal with it. If we are unaware, then there's no way we can take any action to it. Yeah, I mean, loss of voice, just I could remember just last month. It's just a last month incident.
Yeah, it had never happened. So you can't even think. And I think when we are a student, we don't think about all these things. Now we are much more aware.
Aware, yes, true, true.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So
So
anyone else would like to share?
anybody else, or else
Till
we can close the session?
Vasanji, TJ, Hanswani ji.
If I may take the liberty, Sejal, she is a dear friend of mine, and she is present here supporting me. Sejal, if you would like to say, we know how we have gone through our own anxieties, and if you would like to unmute and just share something.
Can I talk? Can I say something?
Yes, yes,
Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry I joined very, very late. I just here from last 5-10 minutes. The
yeah.
subject is of very deeply interest to me. Okay, can you please share today's talk on the WhatsApp group so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can
Yes,
communicate further. Yeah.
yes, yes, Shabana ji will do that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Answani ji, for your interest.
Thank you. Most welcome. Most welcome. Yeah.
Yes, Sejal, you were about to speak something, so please go ahead.
Hello, good
Hello,
morning, everyone.
good morning.
First of all, I'm grateful to Preeti and I'm blessed that I'm her friend and I got opportunity to share my experience. And I am with her from childhood and in graphology journey, she is my therapist from past 2 years. So I'm very blessed and I'm working on it. And I got many benefits from this. And this anxiety, yes, I am going through that. I was going through. Now it's there. I will not tell it's not there, but I'm working on it. So first I used to, even if in friend circle I have to speak, I have to think twice the what people will judge me, what my friends, not people. If I'll tell something, I had phobia of speaking, but nowadays with graphotherapy and Preeti's help, I'm going overcoming all these things. And I'm really, really blessed. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sejal. And she's such an amazing person. And it's when I meet people like Sejal who are so amazing in their own way. I mean, you have to be with her. Rajveen, you enjoy laughing, and I can assure you that with Sejal, you will be just laughing, laughing, and laughing. And despite that, when I came to know that many, many years back that she feels anxious about sharing, I was like, oh my God, this is such a silent killer. A person I look up to, like I would look up to Sejal, कि अगर कुछ joke crack करना, I would look at Sejal that, yeah, here it comes. And it's much later I came to know that she used to feel very anxious about sharing that. So it's such a silent killer.
Sejal, you can join me as in my laughter. Yes,
Sure, sure. Sure, I will.
you are my new student after I become certified.
Okay.
Even today,
Sure, sure.
even today 2 p.m.
Lovely,
Okay,
lovely.
I'll try my best.
So
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
do share it, and I will share it with her. And though these are different time zones, but we'll see what best can be done.
Yeah.
You can get my number from Shabana Preeti. Then
I'll do that.
you
Okay,
can
I
give
will
it
definitely take from her.
to Sejal.
Okay.
And anxiety, one more thing. It's not in your friend circle, something. Sometimes when you stand in front of mirror, that time also you feel anxious. What you
Oh,
will talk about yourself.
So
So
oh.
I am working on all these things. And I will not tell this time also. I'm not telling that my hands are shivering or whatever, but inside something is going on. That what I will talk about is. So all the best for people like me or those who are feeling more anxious. This journey that will definitely help you
It's
for
okay,
coming from
Sejal.
whatever.
After you laugh, you won't feel it. You will feel
Awesome, awesome. And
Yeah.
you are doing very well, Sejal. I'm sure nobody would have guessed that you are.
ask Shabana ji for my trainings on overcoming fear. I did
Okay.
one. Yeah, you can ask. It's on consciously positive.
Yes, dear.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
all. Thank you all, people, lovely people here for sharing your experience and for paying attention to something that we suffer on a day-to-day basis. And stay tuned for information about the upcoming workshop. And even otherwise, just pay attention to your body. Your body is always, always talking to you, whether you hear it or not. So body is always talking. So my one, if there is one takeaway that you can take from this half an hour, 45-minute engagement that we've had, if you can just be more aware of what your body is telling you, I think that is one of the biggest steps that you can take. The other steps can just follow suit. But just listening to yourself, to what your body is saying, where it is saying, which part is it saying, and how it feels there. Is it heavy? Is it pumping? Is it paining? Is it thumping? Just paying attention and you will see magic start unfolding. So that is one thing I would really want you to, that's one important takeaway I would really like you all to take. And with that, thank you all for your time and have a great start of the week. And bye-bye. Take care.
Preeti ji, can you share your number? Can I get your number?
Yeah,
Uh, sure. Uh, Shabana ji, you'll share it or I can put it in the chat box.
yeah. So both ways would work. I can share with them.
Okay, fine. So you can take it from Shabana ji.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everyone. Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much, Preeti ji.